Hello and welcome to Brewskis and Housekeys with me, Nicole Kostelecki.
And me, Nick Papantanakis.
Yeah, and we are with Remax Alliance here in Old Town, Arvada. How's it going, Nick?
It is a fantastic day, mostly because it has been raining for the last few days and it's not as brutally hot. So I'm in like a great mood right now.
Honestly, I got a lot done today with the nice rain and just kind of chilled out. And then it's very good for our grass and our gardens. How's your garden going?
It's amazing. We've gotten, in the last week, I think 6 zucchini off of our plant. It's like going gangbusters. So
I think I got my first tomato.
Yes!
Which is exciting.
Yes.
I haven't picked it yet. Oh, and I have choke cherries. I have a choke cherry tree.
Ooh.
Which usually the birds get to them. And I'm glad I just said that because I need to go pick those.
Okay.
And maybe make some jelly.
So reminder, at the end of this, when we're done, go pick your choke cherries and make jelly. And if you have jelly to share,
Yeah.
it'd be good. So the rain has been great. We both discussed this before we started recording, but have you been golfing lately?
I have. Yes.
When
did I go?
And where?
Sunday I went to Lake Arbor. I shot an 82. I know.
I'm really glad I don't golf with you.
I know.
If I golf with you, I will feel
awesome.
terrible about myself.
No, it was good. And I actually got myself a 60 degree because I was using a friend's and I was like, okay, I need to get one of these.
So a 60-degree wedge is my best friend sand trap and then within 20 feet of the green.
Right. And mine, the one I was using was a sand, so that's 56 degree. And it just was too thick and wasn't getting under it. Not in the thick grass because of the rain, so.
We will start our separate podcast, Brewskis and Golf Skis, at some point as well, so we can talk about that because I'm the same. My 56 is now my pitching wedge, basically, is how I treat it, more or less.
As it should be.
So, yeah. But anyway, I got out on Saturday and played Willis Case. Willis Case is...
How was it?
It's wonderful. I love that course.
I can never get on there.
It's
always booked, which means it's a great course.
It is always booked, and my buddy made the tee time. If it was up to me, we would not have been able to play there, but he made it. He got the pass. 14 days out, and did the thing.
Okay.
So, but I played like garbage, but I am playing on new club, not new, but new for me clubs. So I'm getting a feel, and so I didn't play
Takes
great.
a minute.
And we only played 9. So, but it was.
What'd you shoot for 9?
I didn't look at the scorecard. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
This is
That's
all build
okay. It's all right. Build up for what?
For the big Remax Alliance Children's Miracle Network golf tournament.
Yep.
Coming up.
August 10th?
August 10th, that's right. And
so
so we're all trying to get in shape for it. By get in shape, I mean most of us are trying to get in shape. Nicole is obviously shooting an 82 at Lake Arbor, so not a worry for her. But... really excited about that. I think last year, I don't remember how much money they raised last year, but
I can't remember.
It's the single biggest fundraiser for Children's Miracle Network that Remax Alliance does every single year. So it's a really cool event. Plus, it's an excuse for all of us to take a day to go out and golf.
Yes, yep. And if you want to support it as well, you can buy, we do a golf ball drop. So basically, they drop a bunch of golf balls. The one that goes closest to the hole or in the hole is the winner. And it's $20 a golf ball. And that obviously will go towards Children's Miracle Network. And then the winner gets $1,000. So
it's a nice way to make $1,000.
Yeah.
I would do that. Do that. And anybody can donate. So I'm glad you brought it up.
You don't have to golf to donate. You can just donate.
Absolutely. So reach out to Nicole or myself for details.
We'll get
on
you
that.
the link. Yeah.
Definitely. It's really easy to do.
Or we'll have Nico put it in the podcast too.
His magic. The magic graphics.
The link.
Yes, that's a perfect idea.
Go.
I love it. Let's talk about this beer.
Yes. Station 26.
This is a Denver brewery. They're located in like the Park Hill area. For anybody that knows the Denver area, just off I-70 and Colorado Boulevard was this old golf course, speaking of, that recently closed in the last couple of years, called Park Hill Golf Course. And that's at, I think, 38th in Colorado. So if you go back on 38th a little ways east, then you would hit Station 26 Brewery. And it's an old firehouse. It's a cool setting. It's in a neighborhood area, and it's got a giant patio. It's a lovely place to sit on a sunny day or on a beautiful day. And they just got really good beer. I love their selections. Specifically, what we are drinking today are probably their kind of flagship style beers. So you've got which one?
So I have the Tantrum Cream, now that I think about it, I may have been there once, but I'm not 100% sure. But I do see their beers all over in different local brew pubs. Colorado Tap House has them. Same with Colorado Plus. But so this is the Tantrum Cream, very flagship. It is nice and creamy, tangerine-y, kind of tastes like a creamsicle.
I mean,
right?
We were talking before we started recording. It might be really close to a perfect beer.
It's very refreshing.
Yeah. So shout out to those guys
for
doing
what they did.
Which can be used
for a lot of beers, but this one is...
It's true.
Yeah.
But it's a really good, kind of balanced beer. It's got that little bit of hint of the tangerine, but man, it's just, I don't know, it scratches all the right itches.
It tastes literally like a creamsicle.
It's fantastic.
That's what they're called, right? Those orange popsicles
that we ate when we were kids.
Cream, yeah.
Or might still eat.
Yep, that's it.
This is the other probably kind of flagship style beer. It's the Juicy Banger IPA. For those of you that have even had a Station 26 beer once, I guarantee you've had this beer because the name itself draws you in. And then the flavor will keep you in. It's delicious. It's balanced. It's got the hop forward flavor on the front end, but it doesn't leave you feeling all bitter in your mouth on the end. It's kind of even and balanced, so that's lovely. These folks are pretty cool too. We were reading a little bit about them earlier. They have a scholarship program that I wanted to mention just real quick.
Nice.
That works in conjunction with Regis University. It's called the For You For All Diversity in Craft Beer scholarship program, and it basically is available to anyone in an underrepresented and deserving group of people in the applied craft brewing program at Regis. It allows it's something that any person in the public can donate to, and it's given out every single year at Regis University. So it's encouraging diversity within the craft beer industry. So
that's awesome. They have a great program for that too at Regis for beer making.
Which, no better place than a lovely craft beer mecca like Colorado. Right. I love that. So I thought that was a really cool thing. But check them out. They're definitely a great place to sit and have a beer. Their beer can be found lots of places, like Nicole said too. So definitely worth checking out.
Yeah.
On to the goods for today.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit about what to look for when going out on showings. So a little context, I guess. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll start with a little context. So things are changing, like we talked about last week in our June market update. It's becoming a little bit easier for buyers to kind of start looking just because the pool has shrunk a little bit. So the demand has gone down basically, with the market change that usually happens in summer, but also with higher interest rates and, prices being higher. They think they've increased 12% over the last year. So kind of price some buyers out. People have kind of more gone to renting. But it has created a lot of opportunity for buyers because the market pool has shrunk, or the buyer pool has shrunk, and so less demand, more supply. There's just more listings out there right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's we talked a little bit in that market update about inventory increase. Inventory is higher, and it's insanely higher compared to a year ago from now. I think it was last episode we talked about 94% increase year over year. That's nuts. And so what does that mean? That means properties are sitting on the market for longer. There's more of them. So legitimately, if you're a buyer looking right now and you are able to get out there and shop, you can take that time that it should take to find the right home for you.
Right.
We talk about it all the time. This is one of the biggest, possibly the biggest purchases you will ever make in your life. It's not a decision that should be rushed. So it's really great to be able to think about it from a standpoint of take a breath, take a minute. I don't have to make a decision that I may regret. And I think it's safe to say that even within the last maybe 6 months ago, there are some people that bought something that they might look at it as go,
why did I do that?
I
hope not.
Well,
Because
sure.
they did get in with interest rates low, which is awesome.
Absolutely.
But yes, there are some people that might have looked at it that way.
So this affords maybe a little bit of relief from that, which I think is a really important piece as well. I also think that, thinking a little bit more about taking that time, it's important for whatever agent those people might be working with.
Yeah.
Say it's Nicole Kostelecki, for example. It's important for Nicole to know what's important to that specific buyer, because everyone's going to be different. Mm-hmm. Everyone is, gonna be looking for certain things or different things. If it's their first home, if it's their second time buying, if they're moving up, moving down, whatever it may be. I think it's important to know what's important to them.
Yep.
And then also kind of have in your mind what are good bonuses to point out when you're in a home, or what are red flags that you want to see. So I think that's really what we want to get into today more than anything else.
Yeah. So I guess to start out, Nick, how do you kind of get the, before you go showing, what are some things you talk about with your buyers prior?
Once they're in and they're ready, they're pre-approved, they're ready to shop. I think it's important to know, come into it with kind of not expert eyes, but educated eyes as a buyer, not as an agent, but as a buyer. So sitting with a buyer as we're getting ready to go out for showings, or even as we get to that first showing, we talk a lot about look at some of the things in the house. Obviously they're going to have the emotion side of it, which is, I love the layout, I love the neighborhood. I hate the whatever retaining wall. It could be anything, but there's also the logic side and the real estate side, and that should be, what are the major systems of the house and how are they functioning? Things like your HVAC, your water heater. How long ago was the roof replaced? Those are big things that I want to point out maybe early on in the showing process, or even let them know about ahead of time before we go see houses, so that they're looking at those things, and all of a sudden...
Right, because people don't at first. Usually when you walk into a house, you kind of get googly-eyed and look at, the floor or the tile, but the important systems.
Well, it can almost be overwhelming walking in without kind of some sort of precursor. So I think you're right that it's good to have some sort of knowledge base of what you're going to look for. I think associated with those are the higher cost items.
Right.
So it can be expensive to replace a furnace or an AC unit. It can be very expensive to replace a roof. Mm-hmm. So knowing rough costs on those is also a helpful thing, I think, for buyers in a lot of ways. So that's a good one to point out. And then I think coupled with that, if you are in a home where it has maybe an older furnace, or even the refrigerator or the oven look a little bit outdated or older, it's not a bad time to discuss a home warranty with that buyer too. Mm-hmm. Being able to talk about if you're worried about these things, you could pay for a 1-year home warranty. What does that cover? It covers all the major systems of the house that homeowners insurance does not. Mm-hmm. So things like your appliances, things like your HVAC, and it's a cost up front, $300 to $600 depending on who you go through. Right. But then your refrigerator fails in the first 6 weeks or first year of buying the home. You just call up your warranty company. You pay a small amount, which is like a deductible, right? $50 to $100. They send a tech out that's an approved tech. They can check your refrigerator, decide on a replacement or repair. Everything else is paid for. You pay that small deductible. So it's worthwhile in the long run if you're concerned about those older things.
Yeah, and if something were to go out. And it even covers major items too, like your air conditioner, furnace, those kind of things. Yep. You can get policies up to that.
Yep. So those are kind of things that I like to point out going into it ahead of time. So then as you're out looking at homes, there's other things that pop up, and we talked about the emotion thing. So when you are out showing places to your buyers, what are some common construction elements or kind of finishes that you will look at or notice or point out?
Yeah, so like you said, I first start looking at those big ticket items, because if they are taken care of, then typically I would know like the rest of the house, or I would assume the rest of the house has been taken care of. If people are keeping up with the sewer line, the not as fun items, then the rest of the house has probably been, sprinklers or everything just taken care of. Good bones.
That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, so start with kind of those items. And then get into the nitty gritty of different types of flooring and what the clients prefer. Some people like carpet, some people like linoleum, and it just kind of depends. There's certain types that, well, obviously, you don't want a carpet in the bathroom, right?
Well, and it's
But
that's
that does happen.
yeah, and it's a good place for, if they see it, it's a good place for you to kind of listen to your client as they're
Yes.
talking about it, and also point out, hey, do you mind a little work? Like, 'cause I see the linoleum, I see the carpet. Would you be okay with, or should we talk about that? And could we ask for that in the negotiation side of things if you did like this home?
And I'm glad you brought that up because that's actually a huge thing I talk to my clients about before we go look at homes. That is if they're looking for more of a fixer-upper or something move-in ready. Because some people do like those fixer-uppers. They can pick what they like, once they start changing things.
Yeah, knowing that it's maybe a little bit less cost up front for the actual property, and then they may have to put a little bit more into it, kind of thing. It just depends on the individual.
Right. Some people might want to make it exactly their own style. Styles do change. In the last couple years, it was more, it's still whites and grays, but it was more darker floors, and now it's kind of moving more towards lighter floors as far as wood goes. Yeah.
I was just talking to my dad. My dad, by the way, also an agent with Remax Alliance. The other day, we were talking about, when he refinished his kitchen in his house, which has been, 15 years ago at this point now, the dark granite countertops were in.
Yeah.
He's like, now I regret it now, but he didn't then. So it does change. It ebbs and flows, and it's a matter of not only what your individual buyer is looking for, but also what's common out there, and what are you going to see in a lot of places that have been redone.
Right.
So
I'm thinking about like my own house and how I've done updates, and I just do it the way that I like to update it because I know I'll always like it. I think, right?
Which is an important thing to bring up, I think,
Yeah.
because folks that own now. So if you're someone who owns your home now and you're thinking about maybe you're going to sell it in the next 5 to 10 years or whatever it is, there are certain things like those updates that you're talking about that you should do if you want to enjoy them. If you are we talking kitchen? Are we talking bathrooms?
So my bathroom, I have like the Portuguese tile in there, which I love. Some people might not, but I love it. And so
doing those
but
things,
I'm enjoying it
Exactly.
while I'm living there. So,
doing those things while you live there is more important than, I'm getting ready to sell. Should I redo my kitchen? No, because you may do it with finishes that the next person may not want, or maybe make it less marketable. So better to leave it and let them do it. But if it's, there are certain things that you should, but some of those big things you should do while you're living there so you can enjoy them.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Sometimes
That's awesome.
things come back too.
Big time.
Mid-century modern, you never know.
Yeah.
It's coming back.
Resurgence.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Definitely. Okay, so I guess, Nick, what are some of those amazing features that you have seen in homes that have made your buyers fall in love?
I've got a few. I mean, there's some generic ones. If you can see an updated, high efficiency HVAC, furnace, AC unit, tankless water heaters are nice. I was in a home showing it to someone that had, it was a boiler and it was strictly radiant floor heating. Now
That's huge.
This was in Elizabeth, Colorado.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more temperate there than, here. But the whole house was regulated by that. They had no furnace. They had no AC.
It's efficient.
So efficient.
Is it glycol that they used?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was really cool to see it, and I didn't fully understand it. And I actually asked the agent, I'm like, so what's their energy bill look like? And he was able to tell me how low their energy bill was.
It is.
Because they're not
lower.
running an AC all the time, and you could open the windows and let the air come. I mean, it was crazy. So that was a cool one. Mm-hmm. Less cool, but kind of fun, was a home I showed, a mid-century modern kind of custom-built home in Wheat Ridge. Was a built-in fold-out scale, like a scale you'd stand on to weigh yourself.
Uh-huh.
Not that important to the functionality of the house.
built-in scale that you were telling us about.
But yeah, I thought
Did you try to use it?
No, because I didn't want to break it.
Okay.
I didn't know, it was affixed to the wall and it didn't sit flush to the floor. And I was like, if I stand on this and break it, I don't want to break it. I didn't buy this house. It's not my house. I shouldn't.
Right.
But it was
Right.
It was very unique.
That is unique.
So there's
I
cool
saw a
stuff like that
built-in
out there.
ironing board in a couple.
See, I love those.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't know if it's that popular, but I love them. So maybe, that should be in our homes. Who knows? Outside of that, there are things that you should look for that are probably important to. One thing that I think, Nicole, you brought up with one of your buyers, I think once upon a time, was looking at the grading outside next to the foundation.
Right.
And how that affects the water runoff and how that'll affect, if the water is, irrigating correctly away from your foundation or not, causing settling, causing issues. So I thought that was a really cool one to bring up too, and just looking at that as you approach the outside of the home.
Yeah, that is important, especially with the rain that we've been getting, and you don't want things to flood. Right?
And then the snowfall and all that. So being able to think about that, I think that's important. So all this stuff is talking about the resale market, but there are options out there to buy new construction. Mm-hmm. So what about new construction? Like what are some advice points you might have?
Yeah, I just think it's really important to make sure that you do bring your realtor with you if you are looking at new construction. Because there are a lot of questions that people don't ask right away. They just don't think about it. You're like, ooh, shiny new thing. I want that. But technically, sometimes that can most of the time, if you're getting an upgrade, it's going to cost more. So you have that. But also, you want to know about maybe the timing as well, because it might push out when your house is ready. So just bring your real estate agent with you and make sure that you have someone advocating for you as well. And then another important little shout out, we do have with our preferred lender, Michelle, we have a lock and shop where you can lock in your rate for new construction up to 360 days.
That's a year.
Which is awesome.
That's a year.
Yeah.
That's insane.
You don't know what's going to happen in the next year that it's being built. So
Home Mortgage Alliance, Michelle Beeson, they are, they're superheroes, and they're definitely offering up so many different options like that are beneficial, and there's something out there for everybody. So I think that's an awesome shout out.
Yeah.
Big time.
Awesome.
Well, that brings us to a close. Thank you to Station 26 for amazing beer. Even though, you guys don't know it, you made our day better. So thank you for that. And as always, if you like anything that has happened here on this last 20 some odd minutes, definitely like, subscribe, reach out to us, and we love the feedback always, always, always. And outside of that, please feel free to, pass this on to a friend too. That can't hurt either. And thanks to my co-host, Nicole, too.
Yeah, thank you, Nick.
Cheers,
All
my
right,
friend.
Cheers.